Not Always Lost by Teganmeetsworld. Prologue. Sitting at the side of the stage and looking out onto the crowd was like looking down from a great height. What am I doing here? I'm not prepared for this, Shannon thought to herself. Her guts were twisting in knots, and she couldn't remember how to breathe. The principal was still talking. The last part of his speech was sounding more and more like the final countdown before the skydivers hurl themselves out into space. Looking out into the crowd of glaring faces, Shannon spotted Katie's reassuring smile. As they held eye contact, Shannon saw Katie tap her chest, followed by an in and out gesture. That was something to focus on. In, Shannon counted silently to herself, drawing in a deep, slow breath. Out, she exhaled fully. She still felt charged with nerves and expectation, but she felt slightly less panicky. Now the principal was announcing Shannon as the next speaker, jolting her out of the calm bubble created by her focused breathing. It was time to face the music. There was polite applause as Shannon moved to center stage. Closing her eyes for a heartbeat, she took one final long breath. Cora Artie's words echoed in her head. Believe it and you'll do it, girl. Shannon opened her eyes and focused back on the audience. This was her moment. With strengthened resolve, she began to speak. Chapter 1. Thinking about the evening she was going to be spending with Richard, Shannon opened the car door and climbed in. Pitching her armload of shopping bags into the passenger seat, she sent off a text message. On my way, XOX. Putting the car into gear, she pulled out onto the busy road and accelerated into the traffic. Smiling and humming along to the radio, she began to mentally list off all the things she needed to do. Being head of the student council was a big responsibility. It involved people managing and diplomacy with both students and teachers. It also meant organizing meetings, writing reports, keeping notes, and maintaining her academic performance, not to mention her social life. Life was pretty good, Shannon thought. There had been a few bad decisions and things that she regretted, but really what teenager hadn't made at least one mistake or had something to regret? Though, for Shannon, her mistakes had been more serious than most. 2.5 years ago, Shannon and her mum had packed up their lives and started over in a new town. The hasty relocation to a new community and a new school had been to avoid the drama and fallout of the situation. It wasn't something that Shannon would ever look back on lightly, but even at this point in her life, she could see that things could have turned out much worse than they did. In fact, right now, it made everything that she had these days seem that much sweeter. This time around, she had found Richard, a caring, sweet, and intelligent boyfriend who seemed determined to stick with her. They'd been dating for the last 1.5 years, and they'd become very close. Richard was one person in Shannon's life who she had really opened up to. She felt there was no secrets between them. Shannon was also making a big effort at school, where she worked hard to build a good reputation with her classmates and teachers. It was all part of Shannon's bigger picture, which she had mapped out carefully. She was aiming to finish high school on a positive note with everything in order. There was no way she was going to risk messing up her future after already getting a second chance. Seeing her phone flash at the corner of her vision, Shannon swiped the screen by reflex. Still preoccupied with her thoughts, she chanced to look down to the screen. A message from Richard flashed up. "Can't wait to show you my new skills. See you soon, sweet thing." Shannon smiled at his cheesy lines. She loved his sense of humour and charm. She started to tap out a reply when she heard screeching brakes, and then everything turned to chaos. Sounds of ripping metal and shattering glass filled the air. It felt like a giant had punched the side of the car and then shaken it for good measure. Suddenly, the madness stopped. Shannon found herself slumped in the driver's seat. She couldn't see clearly. Everything was blurred down to a small patch directly in her line of sight. It was like looking through a snowstorm. A blur which became a police officer was running towards her. Leaning in through the shattered window, he was saying something, but Shannon couldn't make out the words over the ringing in her ears and all-encompassing numbness. The police officer kept talking to her, and she was trying to pay attention. She wanted to answer him, but all her muscles had frozen. She tried to respond by blinking, but each time her eyes closed, it was harder to open them again. Everything faded to nothing as her mind escaped to a black emptiness. Chapter 2. Drifting on a rising tide of consciousness, emerging from the dark, Shannon found herself in a hazy white space. Gradually the blurry confusion began to resolve. She was lying on a flat bed. As she looked around, the tiled ceiling and white drapes enclosing her swam into greater clarity. Lying still, she tried hard to focus her senses, noticing the steady mechanical beats and muffled sounds of voices nearby. She wondered how much time had passed. Had she been unconscious for hours or days? With the regaining of awareness came an avalanche of pain. It was a struggle to maintain focus and to not just fall back into the darkness. Just as Shannon was about to drop back into nothingness, she heard her mother's frantic voice somewhere nearby. She couldn't make out the words, but she could hear the rise and fall of her mother's increasingly agitated voice and the measured response of someone else. Shannon wanted to reassure her mum. Using the awareness of pain as an anchor, she tried to pull out. Her voice barely came out in a squeak. Trying to be calm, Shannon focused back on her body, mentally cataloguing the different sensations and trying to get movement. Everything hurts was an overwhelming impression as various sensations started to fully register. Dull aches deep in her bones, pulsating spasms of tormented nerves, and throbbing sensations of varied intensity radiated through her system. Pinpointing whether there was a beginning or ending to each seemed impossible. The worst pain radiated from her head, the rest splattering down her torso and stopping at her waist. It was a relief to find one part of her body that wasn't incredibly painful. Shannon spent some time struggling to make her arms respond. After a while, moving her awareness down her body, she started wondering, why aren't my legs feeling like the rest of me? Painfully, she inched her hand down so it was resting on her thigh. When her hand finally lay where her leg should be, Shannon realized that there was no response. She could feel her fingers, but it was like they were touching a piece of pliant wood. Her fingers told her it was warm and yielding as her leg should be, but there was no response from her leg when her fingers pressed down. She should be able to feel or touch, no matter how light. The warmth of her palm should be obvious. Beginning to panic, Shannon groaned in pain as she turned her head slightly within the confines of the stiff brace to see her hand really was resting on her mid-thigh. 5 words rasped from her mouth. I can't feel my legs. Panic gripped her and the breath caught in her throat. Within seconds, a cacophony of piercing alarms filled the room. A nurse appeared at her side. Richard! Help! Me! Mum! What? Shannon gasped in a ragged chant of panic and confusion. The nurse replied in a soothing voice. It's okay, Shannon. Listen, dear. Take some deep breaths. Shannon's mind was too frantic and beyond reason, overwhelmed by fear and desperation. When the nurse's attempts to calm Shannon didn't work, she took out a syringe of fluid which she swiftly injected into the IV line. A stinging sensation and a chill spread up Shannon's arm and throughout her body as the sedative took hold. My legs were the last words that passed Shannon's lips before everything faded out again. If you want to hear more of the story and read it for yourself, follow the link below to Amazon.com where you can order the ebook version or the paperback version.